Yes, there is a difference in blade configuration between a 50 amp and a 40 amp range cord cap assembly. For a 50 amp range cord cap assembly, the neutral blade is straight and wide, located at the top. The hot blades are two angle blades, located at the bottom diagonally opposite each other. The ground blade is round, located at the bottom center, centered between the hot blades. Now let's look at the 40 amp range cord cap assembly. The neutral blade is straight and wide, located at the top, just like the 50 amp configuration. The hot blades are two angle blades, located at the bottom diagonally opposite each other. The ground blade is flat, located at the bottom center, offset from the center between the hot blades. So the neutral blade is the same in both the 50 amp and 40 amp assemblies. However, the ground blades and hot blades are different. The 50 amp hot blades are diagonally opposite each other, while the 40 amp hot blades are not. Also, the 40 amp ground blade is flat, while the 50 amp ground blade is round. The difference in blade configuration prevents a 40 amp cord cap assembly from being plugged into a 50 amp receptacle, and vice versa. This is important for safety reasons because using a cord cap assembly with an incorrect amperage rating could lead to overheating and electrical hazards. The 50 amp and 40 amp range cords are designed with distinct blade configurations to prevent accidental interchangeability. This design difference is a critical safety feature, ensuring that appliances are connected to circuits that can safely handle their electrical demands. Let's delve into the specifics of each configuration. Firstly, the 50 amp range cord typically features an MF14-50 configuration. This means it has 4 prongs: a neutral, 2 hots, and a ground. The neutral blade is a wide, flat blade, positioned at the top of the plug. The 2 hot blades are angled and located at the bottom, diagonally opposite each other. Finally, the ground pin is round and situated in the center, below the neutral blade. This arrangement is specifically designed to fit a corresponding 50 amp receptacle, ensuring a secure and appropriate connection. Secondly, the 40 amp range cord, while visually similar, has key differences in its blade configuration. It also has 4 prongs, but the ground blade is flat instead of round. While the neutral blade remains a wide, flat blade at the top and the hot blades are angled and located at the bottom, diagonally opposite of each other, the flat ground is not centered. This subtle but crucial difference in the ground blade shape prevents it from being inserted into a 50 amp receptacle. The differences in blade configurations between 40 amp and 50 amp range cords serve a vital safety function. The purpose is to prevent overcurrent situations, which can lead to overheating, insulation damage, and potentially fires. If a 40 amp appliance were connected to a 50 amp circuit without the proper overcurrent protection, it could draw more current than the cord and appliance wiring are rated for, leading to a hazardous situation. In the event of a fault, a 50 amp breaker or fuse would allow significantly more current to flow than a 40 amp rated component is designed to handle before tripping. The consequences of using the wrong cord can be severe, ranging from appliance damage to electrical fires. It's important to always verify the amperage rating of both the appliance and the receptacle to ensure compatibility. Never attempt to modify a cord or receptacle to force a connection, as this can bypass critical safety features and create a dangerous situation. Consulting a qualified electrician is always recommended when dealing with electrical installations or appliance connections. They can assess the situation, verify the wiring, and ensure that the correct components are used for safe and reliable operation. They can also verify the condition of existing wiring and receptacles, identifying potential hazards such as loose connections or damaged insulation. Furthermore, electricians are trained to perform load calculations, ensuring that the circuit can safely handle the appliance's current draw without overloading the electrical system. In summary, the seemingly minor differences in blade configurations between 40 amp and 50 amp range cords are intentional and crucial for electrical safety. Always use the correct cord for the appliance and receptacle, and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any doubts or concerns. Ignoring these safety precautions can have serious consequences. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed standards for electrical installations, including the proper selection and use of range cords and receptacles. These standards are designed to minimize the risk of electrical shock, fires, and other hazards. It is important to adhere to the NEC guidelines to ensure a safe and code-compliant electrical system. Several factors contribute to the importance of using the correct amperage rating for range cords and receptacles. Firstly, conductor size is a key consideration. 50 amp circuits require larger gauge wires to safely carry the high current load compared to 40 amp circuits. Using a smaller gauge wire on a 50 amp circuit can cause it to overheat, potentially melting the insulation and causing a fire. Secondly, overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect circuits from overloads and short circuits. A 50 amp circuit breaker will allow up to 50 amps of current to flow before tripping, while a 40 amp circuit breaker will trip at 40 amps. Using the wrong size breaker can compromise the safety of the circuit. Thirdly, appliance ratings are carefully determined by manufacturers to ensure safe and efficient operation. Connecting an appliance to a circuit with an incorrect amperage rating can damage the appliance or create a fire hazard. Always refer to the appliance's nameplate for its electrical requirements. There are several resources available to help you determine the correct amperage rating for your range cord and receptacle. Firstly, the appliance's nameplate typically lists its voltage, amperage, and wattage requirements. This information is essential for selecting the correct cord and receptacle. Secondly, the electrical power directory should indicate the amperage rating of the circuit breaker that feeds the range receptacle. This will help you determine the appropriate cord size. Thirdly, the National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed guidelines for electrical installations. Consult the NEC for specific requirements related to range cords, receptacles, and circuit protection. In addition to the physical differences in blade configuration, there are other important considerations when selecting a range cord. Firstly, cord length should be appropriate for the installation. Avoid using excessively long cords, as they can create a tripping hazard. Secondly, cord quality is essential for safety and reliability. Choose a cord that is UL listed or certified by another reputable testing laboratory. Thirdly, cord condition should be regularly inspected. Look for signs of damage, such as cracks, cuts, or frayed wires. Replace any damaged cords immediately. To summarize, when dealing with electrical connections, it's never worth taking risks. Always prioritize safety by understanding the differences in amperage ratings and blade configurations. If you're unsure about anything, consult a qualified electrician. They have the knowledge and experience to ensure that your electrical system is safe and code compliant. In addition to the points already discussed, it's crucial to understand the implications of using extension cords with electric ranges. Generally, it's not recommended to use extension cords with high amperage appliances like electric ranges. This is due to the potential for overheating and voltage drop, which can damage the appliance or create a fire hazard. If an extension cord must be used temporarily, it should be of the appropriate gauge to handle the appliance's current draw. A heavy-duty extension cord with a rating equal to or greater than the range's amperage is essential. The extension cord should also be as short as possible to minimize voltage drop. Regularly inspect the extension cord for any signs of damage and replace it immediately if any issues are found. In some cases, it may be necessary to relocate the receptacle closer to the range to avoid the need for an extension cord altogether. Consulting with an electrician is advisable to determine the best course of action. Furthermore, it's important to be aware of the potential for arc flash hazards when working with electrical panels and circuit breakers. Arc flash is a dangerous electrical explosion that can occur when a short circuit or other fault creates an arc of electrical energy. This arc can generate intense heat, pressure waves, and molten metal, posing a serious threat to anyone in the vicinity. To minimize the risk of arc flash, it's essential to wear appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, such as safety glasses, gloves, and flame-resistant clothing. Additionally, it's recommended to de-energize the circuit before working on it whenever possible. If the circuit cannot be de-energized, use insulated tools and maintain a safe distance from any exposed conductors. Never work on electrical equipment if you are not properly trained and qualified. Understanding the different types of range receptacles is also crucial. The most common types are the 14-50R and 14-30R receptacles. The 14-50R receptacle is typically used for 50 amp ranges, while the 14-30R receptacle is used for 30 amp ranges. These receptacles have 4 slots, 2 hot, a neutral, and a ground. It's important to note that older homes may have 3-wire range receptacles which lack a dedicated ground wire. These receptacles are not compatible with modern 4-wire range cords and should be replaced with a 4-wire receptacle by a qualified electrician. When replacing a range receptacle, it's essential to follow all applicable electrical codes and safety regulations. Turn off the power to the circuit at the electrical panel before starting any work. Use a voltage tester to verify that the circuit is de-energized. Carefully remove the old receptacle and inspect the wiring for any signs of damage. Connect the new receptacle according to the manufacturer's instructions, ensuring that all connections are secure. Properly ground the receptacle and reinstall the cover plate. Turn the power back on and test the receptacle to ensure that it's working properly. If you're not comfortable performing this work yourself, it's best to hire a qualified electrician. The proper grounding of electrical systems is paramount for safety. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, allowing the circuit breaker to trip and to energize the circuit. This helps to prevent electrical shock and minimize the risk of fire. In a properly grounded system, all metal parts of appliances and equipment are connected to the grounding system. This ensures that if a fault occurs, the fault current will flow through the grounding system instead of through a person who comes into contact with the equipment. Grounding electrodes, such as ground rods or metal water pipes, are used to connect the grounding system to the earth. These electrodes provide a direct connection to the earth, helping to dissipate fault current. It's essential to ensure that the grounding system is properly installed and maintained. Regularly inspect the grounding connections for any signs of corrosion or damage. Test the grounding system periodically to verify that it's functioning properly. If you have any doubts about the grounding system, consult with a qualified electrician. In addition to the technical aspects of range cord and receptacle selection, it's also important to consider the aesthetic appearance of the installation. Choose a range cord and receptacle that matches the color and style of the surrounding decor. Ensure that the installation is neat and professional looking. Avoid leaving any exposed wires or connections. A well-executed electrical installation not only enhances safety but also adds to the overall appearance of the kitchen. Consider using recessed receptacles or cord covers to conceal the wiring and create a more streamlined look. Pay attention to the details and take pride in your work. A professional-looking electrical installation is a sign of quality and attention to detail. Remember, electrical work should always be performed with safety as the top priority. Take the time to understand the relevant electrical codes and safety regulations. Use the proper tools and equipment. If you're unsure about anything, consult with a qualified electrician. Electrical safety is not something to be taken lightly. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure a safe and reliable electrical system in your home.